Well, Catherine J. 619, I saw you, and I didn't forget you. I just had to find the time. So here we are. How do I feel about a potential run for the 2024 campaign by Lord Gavin Newsome? Well, there's a lot to unpack with that question, because it ain't just a simple, yay, I'm happy, no, I'm mad kind of thing. Because dude's a fucking train wreck. He's your typical modern day crazy liberal off the reservation left wing nutcase, but there's a lot to it. First and foremost, there has been no word, yay or nay, if Joe Biden's running again. Let's be honest, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like he's going to be pursuing another run at president. Right now, he gets angry and upset that how dare you even insinuate that he's not going to be president again. But let's be honest. If the Democratic Party came to him and they were like, we think we can win the presidential election again, but if you're the guy, we might lose. We need you to step aside. The puppet man is going to dance to the side while they pull the strings for him. So let's play the game. Biden does step aside. And Lord Newsome steps in and decides he wants to run. I think it's terrible. Him being president would be atrocious for this country. Like, first and foremost, all you have to do is look at California. You have all these fucking liberals talking about, oh, well, California, it gives the most money back to the government, blah, blah, blah. They have all these fucking excuses why California is so fantastic. And it's not to say Florida doesn't have its problems, or conservative states in general don't have their problems, because every state does. Homelessness in California, the people rotting in the streets in California, the fact that you can trip over, syringes everywhere you go, you're at risk of getting, harmed by things outside your control in California is ridiculous. Some of the policies and procedures they put in place, they're constantly right now getting slapped in the dinghy by the Supreme Court, them in New York, for violating people's constitutional rights, especially related to the Second Amendment. Some of their rules and laws are downright treasonous. You're violating people's rights. And right now, this guy has the nerve to go after Ron DeSantis, who, you can love him or hate him, the guy's on point. The guy does what he does, he knows what he's doing, and he gets at it, and he don't give a fuck what you think. He gonna get at it. So, first off, California needs to keep Florida's name out of their fucking mouth. Because literally, the place is crime haven. There's the death statistics, the murder statistics are through the roof. The drug problems, the homelessness, everything in that state is through the roof. And they talk about how great it is out there. It's great for a small percentage of people, and the rest of the state the rest of the big cities, the rest of the population that aren't in the top fucking 10% are getting fucking shit on. So California needs to close their mouth. That's first and foremost. Second, everything that this guy has done, everything that the leaders in California have done from start to finish since the beginning of the pandemic has been asinine and ridiculous. They talk about, they literally took your rights from you. They took your freedom from you. They locked you down. They put you in your houses. You weren't allowed to leave. You weren't allowed to go do things. Meanwhile, all those assholes were out there, all the high and mighty, the rich and the hoity-toity, and all the politicians were running around getting their hair done without masks. They were not listening to any of the rules that they were forcing you to listen to. So you people, and by you people I mean you crazy liberal left, keep voting for people that are actively telling you, do as I say, not as I do, and they're taking your freedoms away. You shouldn't have guns, but the people guarding them do. You shouldn't go out of the house because of the pandemic, you can get everybody sick, but I'll go out of the house. You have to wear a mask everywhere, otherwise we're going to arrest you, but I don't have to wear a mask everywhere. Oh, the cameras are on, put the masks on real quick. You guys are fucking fools. You guys are fucking sheep. It's insane. It's the fact that this asshole has the nerve to come out here and attack Ron DeSantis. Like a lot of people are now speculating that DeSantis, which I don't want DeSantis to run for president yet. I would like DeSantis to stick around for another term in Florida. But a lot of people are speculating that Newsom's recent attacks on DeSantis are a sign of things to come for the presidential election. So he has attacked DeSantis' stand on things like critical race theory, the Don't Say Gay bill, and a litany of other things like voter IDs and stuff like that. So I'm trying to understand where the problem is. And this is where you people need to stop and think. You people, conservatives, liberals, independents, everybody. You need to stop and you need to think. You need to look at your people, and not all Republicans are infallible. So you need to stop and look at your people and make sure that they're doing what's best for you. And Gavin Newsom is not. All of his state's things and rules are being attacked by the Supreme Court as we speak. They're violating people's constitutional rights. So first and foremost, he attacked the voter ID. What is the problem with requiring someone to have an ID to vote? You can go down to the DMV right now, and for $25, you can get a Florida ID card. $25. If you can't muster up $25, there's nothing that's going to help you. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter. Gay, straight, trans, doesn't matter. If you can't afford to go down there and spend $25, you can't borrow $25 from somebody to go get an ID, that's on you. That is not on DeSantis. That's not a race thing. That's not a anti-gay thing. It's not anything. That's on you. And you don't have to believe that the election was stolen. You don't have to. But the fact that you can, I know some people have a hard time fucking shutting off their own personal bias media and looking at other sources. But the fact that there was so much information out there, so many video clips, so many things showing that people were doing shady things at the time of election, the fact that you think that we don't need to tighten things up a little bit and that requiring people to show they are who they are in order to vote, the fact that you don't think that that's important is a fucking problem. Is a fucking problem. And I believe everybody should be allowed to vote as long as you're a legal citizen. But the fact that it makes me question, does everyone need to vote? And I don't even believe that kind of shit, but it makes me start going, man, these people that are maybe some people are too stupid to vote might be right. Because the fact that you're not even able to stop and look at what's going on here and fucking think that we need to tighten things down is a fucking major problem. Then we have their attacks on DeSantis in Florida for the Don't Say Gay bill. And this is what the liberal left and people like Gavin Newsome do. They say they take tiny little snippets of things and try to blow them out of proportion and try to twist them and manipulate them so you look like the bad guy when you're trying to do something common sense. Anybody that calls it, including politicians and everyday people on the street, anybody that calls it the Don't Say Gay bill, you need to stop having discussions with them immediately because they are too stupid to understand what's going on and they have no critical thinking skills for themselves and they have no ability to read for themselves and analyze things and make common sense decisions. The people that say Don't Say Gay have never opened the bill, have never looked at it. Not once, not for a single solitary second. And if they have, it's been tiny little snippets that are twisted and manipulated to prove the narrative that they want to prove. The reality is all that bill does is ban schools or stop schools from discussing sexuality with children 3rd grade and younger. It does not allow you to discuss heterosexuality, homosexuality. It doesn't allow you to discuss trans people. It doesn't allow you to discuss cis people, straight people. It doesn't allow you to discuss any of that shit because children 3rd grade and younger should not be discussing that shit. Period. Straight or gay. Doesn't matter. So when someone says, oh, don't say gay bill, don't say gay, they need to tell them to kick rocks because they're too stupid to have this discussion. And then they want to attack him on critical race theory. Have you looked at the curriculum for critical race theory? Because I bet you haven't. And all these people that are going out there, well, we need to teach this in schools. What schools aren't teaching these things? We need to teach the atrocities that were done to the African American people. What schools aren't teaching that? Where along the way? Because I remember when I went to school, I learned about the terrible things that white people did to black slaves. It was fucking horrific. So what's lost in the curriculum that we're not doing that anymore? Because when I talk to my kids, they know about that stuff. They know about the atrocities that have happened to the black people that were slaves in this country at the time. Absolutely. They've learned about the civil rights movement and the horrible things that were done to black people as they were trying to gain equal rights. So what are we not learning? Like, how deep does this need to go with elementary school kids? How deep does this need to go with young, impressionable minds? At what point? We talk about the Holocaust. We talk about the horrific things he did to the Nazis. Do the children need to know about the ovens and the gas chambers? Do they need to go in depth, the gruesome, gory details, or do they just need to know that shit was bad and it shouldn't have happened? Every single person should learn these things. Every single person should learn about the atrocities of human history so they don't get repeated. But at what point are we force-feeding children horrible things that maybe it's not time for them to learn yet? Should they learn them eventually? Abso-fucking-lutely. Should it be part of the curriculum? Abso-fucking-lutely. Florida, Governor DeSantis, is the type of person that you need to be backing for political leadership. Doesn't matter, conservative, liberal, whatever. Gavin Newsome is a fucking psychopath. He is a liberal, left-wing, off-the-reservation, gun-grabbing psycho. He, among many others, has destroyed the state of California. Do you have pockets of California that are great? Yes. Every big city is run by these liberal nutbags. You do not want someone like that running for president. So to answer your question with that long-winded response, I think it's terrible. I think it's laughable. I think it's laughable that he thinks he could beat someone like Trump or DeSantis. I think it's fucking hilarious. I think him winning would be a fucking huge detriment to this country because he's still trying to push unconstitutional laws as unconstitutional laws are getting struck down. I think it's fucking terrible.